Well, welcome, FES. I'm going to do a fall image today. I'm going to focus on doing a pumpkin image. Sorry, I'm just looking here to see. I was going to share. It's been a while since I've done this, so I was going to share my other screen as well. I will have to remember. I'll have to practice with this and see if. Oh, here we go. I think I found it. Oops. Well. I guess I'm still sharing it. You can see what I'm doing down here at the below, but you're also seeing this screen here, which is showing um, the pumpkins that we're going to be doing, just to give you an idea where we're going to go with that. Um, but you can see that there's three and they're overlapping. And what I'm going to show you is how to do that. We're going to start out with 3 circles, and then we're going to develop them into pumpkins. I'm going to stop sharing now just so I can see my whole screen. Okay. So we have the one large one in the center. So I'm going to draw a larger circle here in the center. I'm going to do this lightly. Sorry, my camera's not focusing very well. There we go. Now it's back in focus. I don't know why it does that. Anyways, okay, so I'm going to draw my circle on my right here, which is going to overlap the one in the center. And I'm going to bring it down just a little bit lower. This is actually looking reverse on my screen right now, but I'm hoping that it's the actual direction I want it to be going when you're seeing it. Sometimes it mirrors kind of odd. So I'm going to have these 3 circles. In the original drawing that I'm using as my guide, they had divided their paper up into 4. So the easiest way to do that is to fold it in half this way and then fold it in half this way, which creates 2 lines of symmetry that allows us to see approximately where things are at. I kept this circle here off to the right and a little high to the center line of symmetry, and the one on my left, which actually is showing up as my right on my screen right now, but I'm hoping it's not going to be doing that as well in the actual video, because I think it mirrors it backwards. Anyways, so stop focusing again. There we go. That's better. In the second step, it's on canvas. After you create those overlapping lines, you got to erase. But I believe I just erased the wrong one here, Mr. Reifel. I needed to erase this line because I want this pumpkin to be in the foreground. If I erase that line, then I'm putting that pumpkin in the foreground, which makes no sense because it's the larger one and it needs to be the one having more to the background. I'm going to erase this line here, which pushes the larger one to the background as well. Remember, when you're drawing, you don't want to draw too dark. You want to draw more light, and then you can darken up this imagery as you go. The next step, the third step, they say, is to create the stems. And this stem here is going in more of a direction facing away. This one here is facing somewhat up. And notice where it's hitting on my folded part of the paper. It's hitting about right in that area there. And this one's just below the folded part. Now this center one is going to be above, and in the middle, it's going to be slightly off center just to make it more interesting. It's larger at the bottom, smaller at the top, or is the stem. Then it tells us in the directions to start making the curved lines that are going to give the pumpkin some form. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing to the one in the back. But these lines, we don't want them to go over the top. Okay, we'll do our final pumpkin here. Oh, sorry, I moved it outside the screen. As I forget where my camera's at. I hope I didn't do that on all of it. Wish my camera was up a little higher and get a better projection, but this is what I have to work with. Okay, so I've got all my curve lines here. Now in the directions on canvas, I refer to this as doing the curve contour. And that is the rounded part of the pumpkin, the outside edge. So what we're going to do is go along here and just kind of put a curve line on the edge of the pumpkin, which is going to give it a lot more character than just the curve of the circle that we originally started with. Just going to give it a little more form. Now I'm not going to see as much on this one because it's in the background, especially with the direction that I drew it. In the diagram, it shows doing a little more of it. My lines didn't quite match up exactly because I wasn't necessarily copying. I'm just copying the concept, not necessarily trying to make it exactly like the diagram. Because no two pumpkins, just like no two leaves, are exactly the same. The last part, I think it's step 7. It says to erase then those circles where the circles were originally. Any extra lines that we don't need, we're going to erase those. And that's giving us the form of our pumpkin. I'll create another video later about how to shade it. But then, up here where we had that folded edge, we can make that become our horizon line. I'm going to just kind of darken this up just a little bit just to make this pop just a little better. If we really did it, we could do some shading on it. I think I will. Just go ahead and start some shading. Just to show you, just like the sphere, we've been talking about the sphere in class, and all 3 of my grades 6 or 5th through 3rd, been introducing you to that. 2nd grade, we're going to do it as well. We're going to do something with this pumpkin as well. And I just want to get into the fall spirit. Maybe some of you guys are getting excited about Halloween. Leaves are falling now. See how that's just really starting to pop now. Just like the sphere, it creates a little bit of a shadow there. You take your finger or Q-tip and blend that. I'm using my shading stump. really starting to pop out there now. Now we could introduce color to this, but I'm just going to keep this as a shaded pumpkin for now. Okay. It's looking pretty nice, don't you? So we got two overlapping shapes. Now this one here is getting a little lost in this pumpkin, so I'm gonna darken this up just a little bit, give it a little more contrast. Maybe add a little shading there, and I could probably put some shading on the pumpkin in the background as well. Probably should do that one first, just for the sheer fact that it is behind. I don't want to be dragging my hand over it too much and smearing it. Just using a hatching method right now. Do some cross hatching as well. Again, I'm doing this very lightly. I'm not pushing down real hard. I don't want to scratch my paper. I talked to you about this before. When you scratch the paper, it embosses it. It makes an indentation in it. And then when you erase, you see this white line. It's like a ghost line. The line's no longer there anymore. But because of when you shade or when you blend, that indentation of the paper shows up. It's almost like a watermark. Doing pretty good there. Just keep going. I'm going to try and do all three of the pumpkins today. We should have plenty of time to do that. Okay. So I think we'll end there. Could do more shading underneath here with the underneath the pumpkins, which would make it pop as well. But for now, we're just gonna call that a day. It's pretty nice the way it looks as is. And you all have a good day. Remember, kind hands, kind hearts, kind minds, kind bodies.